How do you actually convince your partners to use your product?
People are coming online a lot more than they used to even a few years back, especially past COVID. But this can be a bit of a disadvantage as well.
皆さんこんにちは。世界のスタートアップ情報を発信するスタートアップバックパッカーです。会社を辞めてバックパッキングしながら世界各国のスタートアップや VC をインタビューしてます。今回は携帯のユーザーがどんどん増えているバングラデシュでデジタル化の社会に合わせていかにオンラインサービスを提供していくのか、新たなサービスを知ってもらい、そのサービスの使い方を教育するのか、そういった点について伺っていきますので、ぜひ最後までご視聴ください。Let's go!
Okay, so now I'm with a founder of Bimafy. They're running one of the thriving digital insurance app in Bangladesh.
So what Bimafy does is, primarily it is like a marketplace for insurance companies. So our primary goal is to digitally enable these companies to provide the policies to the customers. So what we have like a marketplace where insurance companies list their products, customers come in, they compare the policies and take whatever policies they like, they can order it, they can manage the policies, claim for it from the platform. In addition to this, since we're working with the insurance company, we work with 8 companies right now, and they can provide like micro insurance solutions to other customers. For instance, like if someone's buying an online ticket, we work with like 5 platforms who provide added insurance with those tickets. So it enables us like access to a lot of customers at a very low cost. And similarly, those customers can also manage their policies through the Bimafy app. They can claim from the portal and get more information about any insurance they might need in the future. This started basically like I was working in a general insurance company in Bangladesh. While working there, I was basically heading the research for them. So we used to have these discussions, Jay. Similar companies are there in multiple other countries. Like even we see like we have Indian channels all over Bangladesh, right? So we see like Indian advertisements of similar companies as well. So that was one thing that struck us, Jay. Why isn't something like this coming to Bangladesh? Because when you see insurance, the easiest way to acquire more information and assess the risk better about customers is through online channels. The legacy system, we know now for sure that it is not going to work in the longer term. This kept on bugging us. And so I got along with one of my ex-colleagues back then who we used to work together. And we also had this client of ours who was back at that time managing the largest microinsurance portfolio. He was working for this company, which is also a multinational working in Bangladesh. So we used to get together, hang out and chill. And then one day we figured, since it's not there, why not we try bringing it onto Bangladesh and see what happens from there. See, this is a transformational market in Bangladesh. Most of the insurance companies are very legacy companies. So we figured, this is not only the case in Bangladesh. It's in a lot of other countries that have legacy insurance companies.
And do you think the digital insurance market is getting bigger here?
Yeah, digital insurance market is definitely getting bigger. For instance, in the future, to assess the risk better of different things, like even someone driving a car and how accident prone that can be, someone traveling and how much risky that can be. These can be much precisely measured with just online interactions. So it is definitely the future globally. But in Bangladesh, what's happening is like in the last few years, we've seen a decent growth of the insurance premium in Bangladesh. Like last year, I think the growth was around 16%. We're expecting it to grow up to 20% in the next 2 years. Currently, we work with 300 different business partners. The companies who are working in Bangladesh, they also realize that to manage insurance, it's better to work with a digital platform rather than have that legacy paper management. Because it's easier to manage that way for businesses and as an individual as well. So that's why we're seeing good interest. And the companies are also like, when we started, the companies wouldn't want to work with us. They were like, okay, what is this going to do? This is just going to ruin my business. But it took us some time. Now we have companies on pipeline waiting that we are not onboarding. We're thinking, let's create a market and then we'll onboard this company.
I guess it's very challenging because, it's a market that's really untapped and you need to have the customers and your partners understand the need for this product. How do you actually convince your partners to use your product? And also, are customers willing to pay?
So insurance companies, like when we started, our goal was easy. That business already, you're generating insurance premium already. What we're going to do is we're going to give you additional revenues. So who doesn't want more money? So it was easier to convince them when we started, but everyone was not convinced about the legality of it and what we're doing. There's a bit of a skepticism when it comes to digital services. So that was there. But when they saw that, okay, these companies who are working with us are generating much more revenues through the digital channels, others reached out to us. So that is working really good for us. So the insurance companies are pretty convinced. From the customer side, one thing is we're having to still provide this assisted journey in most cases. That's why we're moving through the channels first, like alternate distributors, because they are already working with customers. So they in part also helps us educate the customers about using the web portal and the app. Because if we wanted to do it personally, it's going to take us a lot of effort and a lot of promotions and a lot of costs. So we thought, going through this alternate distribution channel will give us an easier access. And that's what we're working on with the marketplace as well. Like for instance, a lot of agencies use our platform to take the policies for the customers. They'll buy the policies for the customers, and the customers will get a message and they'll download the app and then manage the policy themselves. Okay. And in addition to that, we are working on the user experience like on a constant basis so that we can ease the user interaction as much as to the ease as possible. The idea is to go to a point where it is seamless.
So what would be your future prospects, your goals?
One of the big things is what helped me convince my partners as well,
yes,
and my previous investors as well, is that Bangladesh is one of the most underinsured country in the Southeast Asian region. So it has like a insurance penetration of nearly around 1%. It was like 0.5 3 years back. So what it says is, even though it is underinsured, it cannot possibly go below that. The only way it can go is up. There was a report from Lloyd's and Swiss Re which stated that there's like a $6 billion at least gap. That gives us a $6 billion market just in Bangladesh that is yet to be tapped. So that is one thing. Mm-hmm. And in the future, even besides tapping onto the Bangladeshi market, what we're looking forward to is, it's why we focused on the technology. Mm-hmm. Because if we build a good technology, it can be scalable to other countries as well.
You told me about the size of the market. Is this because people can't afford insurance, or is it because they don't know about insurance? What's actually hindering them to actually buy these?
It is basically, it's not just one thing. It's a lot of things basically. Like Bangladesh got independence in 1971. It started from there. Before 1971, what was there? There were Pakistani insurance companies. Before that, if you go to 1947, there were only Indian insurance companies. Mm. And then, it took us some time. And right now we have 81 insurance companies. These companies are pretty new to the market as well. It were at least back then. Right now, the improvements are happening. It's pretty slow. The Bangladeshi markets on other segments, since they're growing, the insurance is growing with it. Mm. What happened is there was not, enough professionals who worked in the industry for a long time. But the thing is, right now, the technology will make it much easier because information back at that time was much more difficult. And I think that's one of the things that we struggled as well. Bangladesh had to meet its basic necessities first, then focus on, external risks. So since that is not the case right now, people enjoy a bit of a better standard of living in Bangladesh. And as soon as they do that, other risks come into the mind. They're buying their cars, they're taking their loans. So right now is probably a better time to get those insurance policies. So these are things which gives a better standard of living. That's when people think about, I want to minimize my risk for this.
So what would be the advantages of being a startup in Bangladesh? And also on the other hand, what are problems or struggles you're facing because you're a Bangladeshi startup?
I think advantage would be a few things. The market is very untapped. So that allows us to look into a lot of different aspects of it, experiment on a few things because it's completely new. We never know what possibilities lie. Right. And a lot of the things we've seen in other countries as well. There are some new aspects that we had to bring in, but it's easier that way because, we get to find a precise development that we might need exactly for Bangladesh. It allows us this space for experimenting and stuff. That is a good advantage. And one of the good things is the market right now is growing. People are buying more smartphones and people are coming online a lot more than they used to even a few years back, especially past COVID. But similarly, this can be a bit of a disadvantage as well because we are having to teach the customers on how to use it, how it would be helpful.
And what about in terms of funding? You told me about you getting funding from an investor in Dubai too, right? How did you actually do that? And
So basically, Bangladesh is, even though it is a small country filled with a lot of people, the startup scene is very close-knit, I would say. A lot of people connected to a lot of people. So that helped me initially when we were looking for funds. So we have had a few introductions who introduced us to this investor.
Is it easier to find capital outside of Bangladesh?
Definitely.
Okay, definitely. Do you have any dreams that you want to accomplish in maybe 10 years?
Oh yeah, definitely. One big dream would be why we started the micro insurance. One of the big things was we want to reach out to everyone, especially in the country, from the elderly to kids. Anything we can. So that was one of the goals we started. We still stick to that. But I think one thing that changed was target to go global. And I feel within the next 10 years, we want to at least go to 3 other countries that we have in the pipeline.
If you have any connections or information you'd be looking for from Japan or countries overseas, It'll be nice to know.
I would definitely love to meet anyone from the Japanese market who are also looking to explore into like transformational markets or bringing their services. So if someone who's already working on it wants to explore Bangladesh or similar countries, I feel like this is a very good opportunity. Yeah, it would be great to be connected to them, to even exchange ideas, to learn from them, or maybe they can learn something from us as well.
Or maybe an investor. Right?
Yeah, sure. If they're looking to invest, why not? I mean, I'd be open to it. Like
You're raising for...
Yeah, currently we're raising like a seed 2 round because we want to like add a few products and decentralize a few departments, and then it'll just be pushing for growth and expansion.
Okay, so if you're interested in talking to Alvi, please feel free to maybe
Anytime.
contact him through LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Alvi.
Thank you.
It was
Thank
great
you. Great
having you.
talking to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Great talking to you as well.
いやー今回も良かったですね。保険、そういう中間層がどんどん大きくなっていってるんで、しかも、携帯アプリユーザーとかデジタルユーザーが増えている分、そこをデジタル化して、保険業界を変えていくというような企業さんでした。で、面白かったのは、やっぱり新しいサービスである分、まだ浸透して、デジタル保険みたいな概念が浸透してない分、顧客だとか、パートナーセールスしてくれる、代理店とかに、教育するのが大変だっていうような話でした。本当に新しければ新しいほど、すっごいいろんな人に普及して大きくなる可能性は秘めてるものの、やっぱりそこにいかに理解して使ってもらえるかっていうのがポイントだと思うので、ここのいい塩梅を見つけていくっていうのが非常に大事だと思うんですけど、で、そういった中で、今回の企業は本当に代理店を使って、で代理店がお客さんに教育をして使ってもらえるようにするというようなアプローチを取って少しずつ付与していくというような感じだったので、非常に面白いなと思いました。ただアプリをローンチしてみんなが使ってくれるっていうわけでもないと思うので、そこはうまくいろんな人を巻き込んで協力してもらってやっているというような感じでした。やっぱりそういう新しい概念をみんなに伝えていくっていうところは非常に難しいいろんなアプローチの方法があると思うんですけど、今回のアプローチ方法も非常にこういった新しいものを作って社会を変えたいという方にとっては参考になるような有益な情報だったのかなと思います。はい、こういった面白い海外スタートアップ情報をどんどん流しておりますので、チャンネル登録いただけると嬉しいです。ありがとうございました。